Starfall.
Hey guys, Nick here with Starfall Sabers, and if you're wondering if this saber looks familiar, that's because I already did a YouTube reveal on this, but it was not installed, it was empty. And this is my personal Corran horn inspired saber. So it's kind of a running joke in the community because I never can ever keep a saber. So this was my personal saber, but here I am listing it for sale. The reason being is, while it's cool, I love this saber. I put a lot of work and thought into it. I just enjoy building sabers. I build them and get to collect them for a short period of time as they're in my possession before I ship them off. But the joy for me is just creating new stuff. So that's when I have a personal saber lying around, I'm always looking at it, I'm tweaking it, and eventually I just end up offering it up. And someone can benefit from me not being able to keep a personal saber. So this saber is really cool. Justin Marshall did the install on this. It was a very tight build. It has a thin brass chassis, brass and aluminum chassis inside with a crystal reveal. This is running the CFX. And so a couple things, if you remember the other video that I did, the buttons were not installed. I had this idea of the power and auxiliary buttons coming out and then going back into the hilt. And so I was going to get wire covers. I was talking to Justin about that, but we just couldn't make it look cool. So instead, I just had him shrink wrap everything really thoroughly. And then I ended up painting these red and epoxying them in here. And it has this cool, like, weathered look. Some found parts to kind of like clip the wire in here. This is all very solid. I wouldn't recommend hard dueling with this. This is more of a shelf queen with a cool story behind it type thing. Just in case, like, if anything got caught on here with a hard duel, it could rip the wire out. So that's usually why it's a good idea to keep wires on the inside. But being that this was my personal saber and I just kind of wanted to do something different, I like the idea of these exposed wires, especially with the way the story goes for in I, Jedi with, like, Corran horn and how he kind of had to cobble together his saber out in the field from multiple scavenged parts, one being a wrecked speeder bike or swoop bike handle. And so I kind of just liked the story elements of it just being really cobbled together. Also wanted to give this, like, dimensional stepped look with the emitter. If you'll remember in the other video, like, imagining that it, like, goes in and twists to the bike. And so that would be, like, what this assembly kind of looked like in universe. Same thing with the pommel. I kind of wanted some nice depth to have it look like it was a functional piece of machinery. Maybe because some of the swoop bikes have, like, controls on the end too, so maybe he had to take that off. And so I wanted to give some dimension into that. So it's in deep sleep mode right now. So let's power it on, and then I will show you the crystal reveal as well. So tap any of these buttons. Give it a second. And you'll hear the boot up. Now this is running a smooth swing version of the speeder bike Corran horn sound font from Sabers Forever. My buddy named John Rossi, worked with him for a long time. He used to do a lot of my installs, and he is a talented font maker as well. So he created this Corran horn sound font, and it fits perfectly. It's my favorite sound font, and obviously with the saber, it works great. So power on. We got some nice little blinkies here. awesome. I love this sound font. It just makes me feel like I'm in a Star Wars movie every time. So now to show you how to get access to the saber, kind of palm it here. So your palm here and hands wrap around that, just so you're not messing with the wires or anything. Nice and secure, and then undo, and I'll show you the crystal chamber here. So it's got this nice brass and aluminum chassis, and which I weathered up, and then Justin was able to print the 3D printed chassis to match the brass, and then when I weathered it, it almost looks just like the brass, which is pretty nice. You have some little micro LEDs on the board here. This speaker pod comes off with magnets, and then you can charge the saber here. With deep sleep mode, it's nice because it just cuts all power to the board. Let's power it on here. I don't ever like use it with a blade while it's in display mode like this, just because you don't want to, there's a lot of fragile parts here. You can see the crystal here. And of course, this has all the color changing effects that Crystal Focus has. And you can see it's, when you put this acts as a resonance chamber, and it's so much louder when this is on here. So then, I love this sound font. John from Sabers Forever did such a good job. So let's go ahead and put a blade in here just to show you that. So there's two blade retention screws here. This one is more decorative. This one holds it really solidly. You have your little blade plug here, and then this has the stock NeoPixel connector with the LEDs that light through. Same thing with the stock connectors for the speaker pod that comes off, which is really cool. Really cool design. So, put the blade in here, seat it down, and as it's seating down, tighten this, and then you can tighten up this one. You don't want to over tighten it, but just snug it up, like so. And have a nice slow scroll on it. So this is going to serve as the instructions for the new owner. As I'm doing this video, I'm actually kind of getting a little sad because the saber is just so cool. Not trying to toot my own horn. I just like everything about it. The backstory of the saber, the sound font. So that is the basic operation of my personal Corran horn saber, which is now will be for sale. It's $1,500. This is a 1-of-1 brass chassis, crystal chamber. So this will never be duplicated. You will be the only person who has to own this handmade saber. If that's something that interests you, hit me up. As always, thanks for all the support. It keeps me going. All your comments on Instagram, on Facebook, and even here in YouTube. I know I don't get back to a lot of you on YouTube. I apologize. There's just so many social media accounts to manage, but I read them and I appreciate it. Again, it keeps me going. As always, you can give me a follow on Instagram at @Starfall_Sabers, and we will see you next time.